topic is a tough topic. Topic about acceptance, right? You can put the hand up to the side, and we'll discuss, and I'll refer to it as we go into the class. The Mishnah says, there's a Mishnah that really highlights the idea of acceptance. And what does acceptance really mean? So the Mishnah says, Ohev Yisroel, ומקרבן, right? Ohev Yisroel. If we pay attention to this Mishnah, we'll see that it's not simple at all. This Ohev Yisroel thing, as a matter of fact, Ohev Yisroel is a contradiction. It doesn't make sense. Why? Beriyos is a term we use when an individual has no mind. Beriyos is actually a term we use when you're disgusted by someone. He's a beriya. You don't say, oh, that person is a creation. No, you say the person's a man, he's a nice person, he's a smart person, right? When you can't find anything to say, you say, he's a creation of God. There's nothing else for me to find in that person. He's a creation of God. So beriyos is highlighting an individual who there is nothing to like. So why do I like them? How can I like them? It doesn't make sense. Liking means to say that there's something like. To like, Ahavas, is not in the absence of anything. There is a reason, there is a pull, there is something there that makes the Ahavas to be alive. Well, if he's a beriya, if there's nothing there, then how am I supposed to be? Or how am I supposed to find myself in a place where I can't find myself? It doesn't make sense. It's a contradiction, oxymoron. If he's a beriya, then I call him beriya because I couldn't find anything nice to say about him. I couldn't find my Ahavas there. No, Ohev Yisroel. You should like him anyway. I can't. I don't have anything there to like. No, you should like him anyway. What should I do? I can't. No, Ohev Yisroel. What? How? Tell me. What's the recipe? The only recipe I found is descriptive terms. There are no descriptive terms. So what am I going to do? So the Mishnah needs to be understood. How do I have Ohev Yisroel? Not a theoretical question, and it's not just a question when it comes to beriyos. It's a question in every Ahavas. There comes a time when there's something there that for me is like a beriya. There's something there that for me, in this particular area, this person, although I may like him in other areas, but for me over here, he's a beriya. How do I find my Ahavas at the moment where I look at the person as a beriya? There are going to be those moments where there's a void that I don't find. So how am I going to find it when there's a void? Oh, you just said this. No, you should find it anyway. The question becomes stronger. Why does the question become stronger? Some people might suggest, let go. There are people that have slobs, people have chesroinus, people have things that disgust you. Just smile, just be Mr. Nice, and ignore it. So a person might tell himself that although I can't find myself, let's say the question becomes a little bit personal when it's a person that I can't ignore. Certain people I can ignore. But if I find a beriya moment in a person that I can't ignore, I'm very, very frustrated. A beriya moment in a stranger across the ocean, they say Ahavas Yisroel is to a Jew across the ocean. It's easy for a Jew across the ocean. What about the neighbor? A Jew across the ocean, I'm not going to see him tomorrow, so be very nice, give him a meal, but make sure to make your plane tomorrow. So that's it, we're done. But if a neighbor who I can't get rid of, what about a beriya moment there? How am I going to find myself there? Beriya moments are moments that we have in life, even with the closest people. How do I have Ohev Yisroel? How do I find myself there? Some people say, I'll give you a name. How do you do it? Realize that everybody is imperfect. This is what we hear all the time. Let's see how it doesn't work. You should realize that everybody is imperfect. You're also imperfect. So therefore, that should somehow get you to like something you don't like. Because a person is imperfect and I'm imperfect, so therefore I should like him. Therefore I can ignore it. How am I going to like him? How am I going to find myself there? I can ignore him. As a matter of fact, if I do that, the person will feel that I'm distancing myself at that moment, and they won't necessarily like that. But I should find myself there, and I'm the kind of person that can find. What are you saying? How does that play out? Doesn't make sense. The question becomes stronger when the Torah tells us, I'm not allowed to ignore it. So the Torah is telling me two opposites. The Torah is telling me like and change. If I'm going to change, I'm confrontational. If I'm going to change, I'm addressing the problem. And the person, it's going to be vayitzaku. It's going to be, that's not a ahava moment. No, it doesn't work together. How in the world are you going to have both of these things that are spita? There are contradictions. That's the question that we have here. Seems to be a common question, challenge. And what does it really mean? What does it mean? So we use the word acceptance. Here's where we use the word acceptance. Acceptance is somehow supposed to be a magic pill. What does it mean? And it comes from this Mishnah. It comes from this Mishnah. That's why everybody quotes this Mishnah, because this Mishnah is somehow giving us briyas, but ahava. So there's something there. What happens? How does it play out? That's the question we have. There's a word from the Baal Shem Tov that we also have to address. The Baal Shem Tov says that seeing negativity in another person is somehow a reflection on myself. This is another component within a discussion of how I'm supposed to address negativity, but that in itself needs to be understood. What is the Baal Shem Tov saying? If I see negativity, it means that I have it. That's the only reason. Maybe there's a mitzvah, there's a mitzvah of me helping another person in need, physically, emotionally, also spiritually. So the person might be involved in bad behavior patterns that are negative, not because it's a mirror of my negativity, but because I have to help them. So don't come along and tell me, oh, the negativity you see is really not negativity, it's really all about you. No. Let's be real. There is negativity in individuals. It's true. It's real. And don't give me no mirror. But Baal Shem Tov didn't say that. So how do we understand the Baal Shem Tov in the context of this conversation as well? Somehow this is going to be another factor in me viewing negativity, in me being able to accept negativity. Can I accept negativity? Accept means I should allow negativity. Accept means I should love them, but I can't love how do we do this? So let me summarize the question so we have this in a nutshell before we go to the answer. We brought out the Mishnah. For all those who just came, we brought out the Mishnah. It's a famous Mishnah, but as much as it's famous, it's really not understood. Not only is it not understood, but it's not anymore. It doesn't make sense. The Mishnah says, Ohev es habriyos ומקרבן לתורה. A person is supposed to love briyos. That's a contradiction. Briyos means there's nothing there for me to love, and that's why I call him a creation. I don't call him a mensch, I don't call him a smart person, I don't call him a kind person, I call him a creation of the Eibishter. That's a good way of saying there are no good things about him besides that. When you call someone, you want to know about someone. They're a creation of God. There's nothing else you can find about the person besides saying they're a creation of God. You can't find anything else. No, they're really a creation of God. Basically, there's nothing else. That's why we say the word briyas. So if it's a briyas, then there's no Ahavas. How do I find that? Ahavas is real. Can't fake it. So what does it mean? That's the question. We also brought the Baal Shem Tov because somehow this word of the Baal Shem Tov will play a factor in how the answer plays out. In order to understand this, yeah.
You're talking about, let's say, the moment, are we talking about something objective or subjective? Meaning, is what they do something personal to us, or are we just observing them and kind of placing judgment on them?
Something subjective is subjective. But there are real situations. A person's a slob. It's a fact. He's a slob. A person doesn't eat kosher. They decided today not to eat kosher. And you can't avoid it. They're with you. It's a fact. It's not subjective, it's objective. I'm not talking about something that you like and they don't like and you have to get to know another Mila. That's another discussion. A person's an artist and you can appreciate art. That's a different discussion. Get to know there's more Milas in the world, right? Something objective, something solid, something factual. Slob is a real society. Maybe some people will kind of say. But it's a slob. Slob is a society, right?
Is it something that they did to...
Nothing they did to you, but they're in. They're not someone you can ignore. So you're interacting with them. So you don't want to be with someone who has that shaitan. So it bothers you. You're frustrated by it. What do you do about it? Yeah? Yeah. Criticize. Well, help them change. Help them change. However you do it. But there's a symbolic, there's a commandment for me to help someone else change. Change and acceptance don't usually come together. Change and loving them for who they are, which is what we always quote, right? Doesn't work together. Ohev and change don't seem to talk to each other. They seem to clash and give opposite messages. How does it work together? The same title. How does it work together? Clear? Okay. Yeah.
Help someone change?
Help someone change. If I come across someone's donkey that's overloading, the donkey's about to die because I overloaded it with whatever I put on it, not this place, yeah? So I have to help out. Just like the Gashmis I have to help out. Also spiritually, if I come across someone in my life who has a bad behavior pattern, not let it ignore it. I have to try to help it change it. So I'm not supposed to ignore. I'm supposed to help, facilitate change. You see someone's property lost, about to be stolen, you should help. Property and spiritual mitzvahs, whatever, is the same thing. So I have an obligation to help. Helping is change. Change is personal. Change means I don't accept you. Ahava means I'm coming and connecting to you. They don't go together.
So which one?
It's a contradiction. How do I have both? How do I have the right hand I'm saying, or the right hand I'm saying Ahava, the left hand I'm saying change? How do they go together? The person who I'm communicating with will soon not be communicating with me. Right? It doesn't really work. Right? Okay. So in order to understand this, let's go into the difference between chesed, gvura, and tiferes. Okay? We just covered the first 3 points. First 3 points on your paper. So you have briyas is a disgusting behavior. And to bother you can't force a feeling. There's no such thing as forcing a feeling. Being a mensch is not ahava. That's polite. And that's not ahava. That's something else. I'm not sure really what that is, but it's something. And Ahavas Yisroel, to a stranger across the ocean, I brought out, stranger is easier than a neighbor. Right? What's really Ahavas Yisroel? What do we really mean with this quote? We're going to explain it in a different way. It doesn't mean. We'll see. And the third thing we're going to be explaining is about Baal Shem Tov. Baal Shem Tov has a famous quote, seeing negativity in someone else as a mirror in yourself. What does that really mean? A play of words, some kind of sales tip for me to have some reflective moments in my life, so you want to push me to reflect on myself instead of reflecting on others. What are you trying to do? How does that play out? Three different points we have. First point is the Bariyos. Second point is what's Ahavas Yisroel, which is then connected, and the third point is Baal Shem Tov. Okay. So what's Chesed, Gevura? Let's now have a discussion on what Chesed, Gevura, and Tiferes is. We'll soon see that Ahava has two meanings. There are two meanings to Ahava. Now we're going to phase one. Chesed, Gevura, and Tiferes, three paradigms in relationships. That's what we're up to right now. So let me discuss it outside, then I'll show you. We'll soon see that there are two definitions of Ahava, two descriptions of that feeling. The Ahava that most of us use is one kind of Ahava, and then there's another description of Ahava. That's going to be the description of Ahavas Yisroel. Different word that we usually use for it. Let's see how it plays out. I'm going to give you an example. So you have an ani, a poor man, standing in line to get something from a rich man. Let's play it out in this example. We have a line of people who need something, recipients. Let's see how an interaction, three kinds of interaction. Then we'll see how that relates to our discussion. As they're coming down the line, so there's three individuals sitting at the table that are interacting with these aniyim, with these poor people, with these people that are recipients and need something. Needy people and a giver and a recipient. First, Gevir at the table, he's Mr. Chesed. He's giving out money to anybody who comes by. He has pre-made checks of a certain amount of money, and every individual that comes by, he gives them a check. The first ani comes by, gives him a check. He says, "No, I want to tell you my story." He says, "I have enough time for your story. Here's a check. Have a good day." Okay, go. Comes to the second individual. Second individual says, "Yeah, let me hear your story." He's Mr. Gevura. Your story? No. This is not the kind of story that I give to. You should go and work. You have things that you have to fix, and you have homework, you have baggage. Go away from here. This is not a place for you. Fill out this questionnaire. When you finish with that questionnaire, come back here and you'll see if you're really a recipient, if you're really ro'ui, if you're really deserve something, or you're just looking for goodies. I don't give to people who are looking for goodies. This is not the line for goodies. I'm a guy who takes people who deserve, and that's where I fill gaps. I fill gaps that there's a need for. I feel real things. If you're real, I give you. If you're not real, I have nothing to do with you. Then he turns around to Mr. Chesed and says, "You're nuts. How can you give to these people? Don't you see this guy's a druggie? This guy's taking advantage of you. You're just giving to everybody. Don't you realize what you're doing? You're actually hurting society because you're hurting. These people are taking advantage." Mr. Chesed says, "You know what, Mr. Gevura? You invested so much in this. You have questionnaires. You spend so much time. I don't have time for this garbage. I make out my checks, and I give out. This is just how things work. This is the name of the game. Some people get, some people lose, some people take advantage. This is what I do. This is my kind of, I don't have time to invest myself in the way you invest yourself. This is not my kind of thing to do." Gevura looks at Chesed that he's nuts. Chesed looks at Gevura that he's nuts. They all have their own way of doing things. Okay. Now they turn to Mr. Tiferes. And they say, "Hey, what are you going to do?" The guys down the line, coming down the line, they come down to Mr. Tiferes. The druggie who got from Chesed, who was sent flying from Gevura, comes now to Tiferes. I can start to listen to him. Chesed told the druggie he didn't even hear that there's drugs. The guy in the Chesed, it never even registered that there's drugs in this recipient. He just had his check there that he's giving out. He didn't even register that there's a problem over here. He's in his own bubble. He never really came in touch with the recipients. Gevura was very much in touch with the recipient. What's the first? If he's going to be in touch with the recipient and realize that there's drugs, he is going to send him flying. If he won't be in touch, then he's going to give it. So which side is he going to take? He gives. He probably never saw. No, he says, I see. So why are you giving me? Doesn't make sense. How can you relate to someone that has everything in there for you to send them flying? How did you suddenly connect to that person and give him? Why did you give him? This is how it plays out.
What did he give the treatment?
Let's see what happens. Comes to Tiferet. He's sitting there and he tells Tiferet the story. Tiferet says, Uncle, I know you're undressed. I know exactly what's going on there. Let me tell you something. I've been there too. I know exactly what you're going through. I'm not going to give you money. I'm going to give you my cell phone. And you leave this place. You call me. I'm not going to give you fish. I'm going to teach you how to fish. I want to see you become like me. I'm not giving you goodies like chesed. I'm not going to send you flying like a Buddha. Your problem is my problem. You're my baby. You're going to become my project. You're not getting things, you're getting me. What happened here? He gave and connected. But there's something here repulsive. There's something here in the recipient. How did he connect to something that seems like it's not connectable? What did he do to connect in a place that seems impossible to connect with? What was the trick?
He put himself in the same place as the other person for that moment. He went back in memory lane.
Right.
I think he was in his place.
He was in his place. So is this something only shy when you went through something?
No, you can argue it. Sometimes you can feel it. You can imagine yourself. Imagine the situation, not yourself. Imagine the situation and imagine what needs to be done to solve the problem, or even not 100%, but maybe to give a way to do something. You don't have to be exactly the same.
He wasn't making it up. He saw in his soul matter, like what the real issue is.
Everybody saw this stuff. What did he see? What was behind it?
Well, whatever it is that person's going through.
Right. And why did he have to not see it?
Because they're just seeing the drugs. They're seeing external.
Yeah, good, but why?
Chesed has a system. I give, let's say, $100. Yes, this is his budget. So everyone that comes, he gives them $100, no matter what. If the other person is 10 or the other person is 1,000, he doesn't know. He goes like this. He gives $100 to every person, and that's it. This is his way of chesed, and finish. The other one, the Gvura, saw the problem, but he has no solution. Even $100, what is he going to do? Can I take him on my shoulder? Do I know to solve the problem? No. What am I doing? So he's telling Chesed, you didn't do right. But he doesn't offer another way. He doesn't offer another idea.
What is the fetish?
And
what is the fetish? What is the third guy?
He gives them, first of all, he gives them away. You are like me, I'm like you. He's relating. He gives them, in Hebrew we say a Hogan. I don't know how you say it. How you say the word in English? Hogan.
Hogan?
Hogan.
It's an anchor.
That's right. You are my anchor. You are someone that I can relate. I can tell you that I wasn't able to sleep tonight because I didn't stay quiet. I can tell you that I didn't have enough money for the night, and I was feeling, you were in the same situation. So even if I'm doing something wrong, I can tell him. And whatever he will suggest me, he knows what he's suggesting me because he was in the same place.
But you don't have to be in the same place.
Yes, even if we are not in the same place. I know on a family that one of their children was on drugs, and the father, as much as he was a Hasidic person, with a shrine with everything, he went like this, hugging his son, like when the session was tense like this to him, whatever it is, and walked with him on the street like this, just to give him the support. We are not leaving him alone.
unconditional.
Very, yeah.
Unconditional.
Very difficult, yeah. One second. So let's see. It's not solved. Let's see why. Let's solve it more. Let's solve it more. So let me recap what's going on over here at the table and see where this conversation goes. We had a problem. We're trying in this case, we have a recipient who's going through something, who has the reasons why to reject them. And we're trying to find how we can overcome it. That's what we're trying to do. So what do we say? Seemingly the easiest scenario that we can relate to. How Tiferet relates to this and this. It's a personal story. Everybody has. A cancer survivor is going to feel like they can talk to someone else who went through cancer. You see all the biggest moises of chesed, a lot of them were survivors of something. And they started the society of this machla because they went through something similar to that, so therefore they feel for it so strongly that they're going to go out of their way to help out people in that area. So we see how when a person goes through a certain experience, they let go of any systems, they let go of any paradigms, of any kind of areas where they're only going to be here or not there. They open up themselves, and the other person feels that there's no goodies, there's a mentor. The other person feels like I'm connecting to a person, right? We find that in experiences. First, we have to define what happens here, and then we have to see how can that happen when I don't have that experience. Am I able to duplicate that intensity when I don't have the experience of someone else? And if yes, how? That's what we have to do. Perhaps that's what you're referring to. Yeah. Why? That doctor has their profession, and first of all, there's two kinds of doctors. There's a doctor with bedside manners, and there's a doctor without bedside manners. A doctor is only there to cure, and there's a doctor who's there also to connect. The doctor who's there to cure doesn't connect. The doctor who's there to connect, that's not what we're talking about.
So that's the role that you did.
We need to understand what it means to connect. What we're looking for is connection, not for interaction. The third individual is where connection takes place, is where relationship takes place. The first two were within systems. The first two place a certain parameter how they operate. The third one, let go and bonded. The key to the third individual is, you know what the key is? Let go of every system. Here's myself and call me 12 o'clock at night. Come into my house whenever you want. I can't sleep at night, like you said, because of what you're going through. Can't sleep. The other person hears that. Wow, I'm a chaya. I finally have a mentor. I finally have someone I can relate to. They both. They
like to put his head on, like to relax,
But
a pillow to lean on.
But what's the yisoid over here? That's the consequence. The yisoid, what's the foundation that allows the intensity of this kind of relationship to take place? Where does it all start? It starts in the moment of the giver's mind that he says, I'm going to let go of my comfort, of my night, of my day, of my time, of my cell phone, my private cell phone I'm going to give you. I'm going to allow myself to be here, I'm going to invest myself here. I'm not going to give my time. I'm not going to give my table, my checkbook. I'm not going to give a system. System means I'm only sometimes here. I'm going to give myself. When the person does that, the recipient feels that, and that's the moment connection starts. That's the moment the moment that connection really starts is when you're invested in something. When the person feels like there's a bond, he even uses in English the term, it's my baby. When a person says that they're really invested in something, and you see that in donors. Some donors are invested in something. Some donors say, I gave you my check, please don't call me again. Next year, call me another Shana, I'll give you another check, right? So the same thing, we have that in life. Sukkah. Everybody come to my sukkah feast. Don't walk into my house. So don't come to my dining room. Stay outside. You have 30 feet. I give you whatever you want. Stay in the sukkah. Don't wake me up at night. Wake me up. Leave. Big sukkah as much food. I'm a Baal Chesed. I'll give you what you want, but stay outside my home. Then I have a ben bayis. Come to my table, you eat my table, I'll give you time, I'll give you my time, my sleep I'll give you. Come to 12 o'clock at night, you have a problem, I'll talk to you. I'll help you out. You're my baby. Ben bayis. That's Rahman. It's that.
That's only a mother.
It's not hard, you think? The word "it's my nature." The word "it's my nature" is the opposite of Rahman. One second. What does ben bayis mean? Ben bayis means that I feel. Some people have it easier to bring someone into their house, but everybody has certain barriers. Everybody has certain limits. When someone feels at home, not when you bring them into your house, when they see that you went out of your limits. You went out of your limits. They can feel how you relate to them. People feel not the things that you do, but how you do those things. So they feel when they come in, if they're a ben bayis or a guest, some homes you come in, you say, I feel at home. Some homes you come in, you say you feel as a guest. You ate the same challah. You ate the same kugel. You sat in the same armchair. It's a feeling you have in the kugel and in the challah and around the armchair. That attitude of the Baal Habayis, of the owner of the home, that's where Rahman starts. I'm opening up my home. Yeah, some people are just naturally leave or they don't have a home. Their home is open all the time. The strangers come in all the time. So yeah, they're opening. They're not opening up home. They don't have a home to open up. Okay, so yeah, that's their nature. Okay, fine. That's a beauty. That's just what it is, right? And he knows that. So he knows it's not at his home. Everybody's coming from 7 to everybody's coming. So he knows that's not how they feel ben bayis like it. Some people don't. And they know that. You feel the ben bayis when it happens. Because it doesn't happen in the things. It's an attitude and a decision that a person makes. Am I going to open myself up or not? Am I going to allow the other person to really come into my life? Or am I going to stick behind barriers and fences and certain parameters that I'm going to make and everybody has to play around my rules? The word selfless can sometimes play out in the sense of amashmata. I'd rather say invested. You invest yourself. You invest yourself with the baby, the child. You invest yourself. When you stay up at night with your own child, you don't feel selfless, you feel a self. That's your child. That's your ultimate self.
Wait, say that again?
So self.
Selfless.
That's another way of, very good. Selfless is bittul. She's highlighting how selfless could be a good word.
Yeah,
right.
bittul. And what's the other one?
Shipful should be what? Lowly. Person who feels low. The word low has a negative connotation to it. Very good. Okay.
The phenomenon you're describing of opening oneself up to allow someone else in, is that always a good thing? And
allow someone else in.
Is there a time when it's maybe not appropriate, or is there a time that's too much? Like even an example with mothers. There's so many mothers who are worn out and totally, burned out. And of course, we know that this is resentment, but
the word relationship means that you're bonded. That's number one. You don't have to bond with everyone. But if you want to bond, that's what it means. You don't have to bond with everyone. But if you want to bond, that's what bonding means. Otherwise, you're one person, they're one person, you have to be in the same house. If you want to bond, that's what bonding is. If your child will feel but they can't talk to you, only if you're going to give your child up for adoption only once a year. Only once a year. Does the child feel 99% love? Only once a year. You know, it's really too much for me. Once a year, I'm going to give you to Yankel's house, and you know, just once a year. I really, I need to have a break.
What if that makes you available 99% of the time?
So my question is, how does a child feel if you would do that to your child? Once a year. Give them up for adoption. And is that and why don't you see parents doing that? Is that a healthy way how it
You do. You see them going on vacation.
But they're not giving up. Giving up for adoption means you have nothing to do with me. Don't call me. Don't talk to me. Don't have anything to do with me. You're someone else's. If it's your thing, it's your thing. People use the word lahavdo. Maybe not lahavdo. People sometimes are caught up in their business, right? To the extent that they don't come home. And the business can become their home, right? You got to decide. What's what? You only have one home. A bond is where you're there. You don't have to physically be there all the time, but you care about it all the time. So there are parameters within a bond. Technical parameters. You know the difference between a strategic investment and a technical investment? I'm there all the time. I'm thinking about it. Right now, I happen to be brushing my teeth. I happen to be doing all the things, but I care. It's on my mind all the time. Someone I really care for is on my mind all the time. I'm there. It's not him and me. We're one. Real teamwork is two people. They say a joke that you come to the doctor. Come to the doctor. Tells the doctor comes with his wife to the doctor, and he says, "Doctor, our foot is hurting." The doctor says, "Which foot?" He says, "The left foot." And the doctor says, "No. Whose foot?" He says, "Doctor, I told you left foot." The doctor says, "No. I said, whose foot? You or your wife?" He says, "Doctor, you're from these old younger generations. Mine up you mean, or my wife, me, I told you it's the left foot. Just heal it and take care of it. That's it." When a problem, teamwork means it's both of our, it's our problem. Right? The word our means you share. Sometimes when you're very close to someone, you say, "I don't feel like it's your problem. Your problem becomes my problem." We share our struggles together. Your struggle is mine. I feel bad because you're going through a hard time. Why do you feel bad? Because it's my time. It's your time. It's my time, your time. I feel bad because it's my time, not yours. There's no me and you. That's what a real investment is. It goes both ways. First of all, the heaviness of a problem goes away. In halacha, there's a halacha that when two people carry something, that it's not the same weight as one individual carries it. And that's Shabbos. The Gashmis is the same thing. When two people carry something, it's a different weight, and they can go through weights that they can never carry on their own. Something when they both carry it together, and they're sharing it becomes something that's not a struggle. It's a growth spurt, perhaps. Pain of a growth. There's another story, just to highlight the sukkah, there's a story of the Rebbe. Maybe I said it before, but it's kedai to repeat it. There's a story with a teenage girl who was going through a difficult time. Teenage girl was going through a difficult time, and the Rebbe asked Rabbi Kaplan from Baltimore. He tells over the story to help out this girl. So at a certain point, the girl wrote a settle to the Rebbe, "What do you understand my pain? You're a Rebbe. You understand what I'm going through. How can you even advise me?" The Rebbe gives a beautiful mashal. The Rebbe told her when a mother has a child who's teething, and the baby's teething, the baby has pain because she's teething. Teething is painful, very painful. The baby's crying and the mother's crying. Why is the mother crying? Because she feels the baby's pain as her own. So too I feel your pain. The bridge between your pain and my pain is not necessarily by me investigating and understanding your particular pain. It's by me connecting to you and seeing that you're in pain and therefore I'm in pain. You're connecting and bringing yourself and allowing someone else to share everything that you have. Letting go, you're letting go of the things that don't let you be. We're meant to let go. We're born happy. We're meant to let go.
Sharing pain is a great thing. It's less painful for me too. I feel better when I let go. I'm not letting go to someone who doesn't invite me. I'm letting go to someone who's inviting me. I'm letting go to someone who's strengthening me. I'm letting go to someone, like you say, who I can put an arm on. I can put an arm. I'm letting go. I'm not letting go as in letting go. I'm letting go in the sense of becoming an amazing person. A team does things that an individual can't do. And it's felt and evident within the team. And you know when you say the word beauty in a team? You don't say the word beauty when black. You say the word beauty when two colors come together. It's a beautiful thing. It's a great feeling. That's a different feeling that I have in my self-expression is Ahavas. The feeling that I have when I let go and I come into another, with another person, that's in Hebrew called Rahmanas. Rahmanas, Tiferet, is the source of relationships. Ahava in itself is a source of bubbles. Bubbles. Like that person lives in their own bubble. Tiferet is beauty. Tiferet is marriage. Tiferet is relationship. Tiferet is two people coming together. Tiferet is the ultimate moment of a regesh, of a feeling, of the wholesome feeling of connecting with the other person. It's not a contradiction of change. When I tell someone who I feel him and they feel me, you know, I see the problem you're going through. I understand your problem. They understand that I feel them. I understand that I feel them. We can both help out each other without any contradiction, because the helping is not confrontational. The helping comes because I feel you, just like I feel my child, just like I can overcome that feeling and I feel the pain of a baby, although I don't necessarily in the world of the baby, I have no clue. But we feel each other. When you feel each other, then the things you say come together. I'm going to give a few more examples to bring this out. Yeah. Yeah.
This is in normal situations, but there are situations where a person cannot
have this kind of feeling. Okay. So let me get this. Three. If you look,
there's something within the personality that
there's something that's going to block it. It's going to block that Rahmanas now. Okay, beautiful. There's going to be something that can block Rahmanas. There's going to be. This is standard Rahmanas. There's ultimate Rahmanas. Standard Rahmanas. Let me play out a little bit more with standard. Let's summarize where we came to. We just now did phase 2 and phase 3. And let's see what ultimate Rahmanas is. You know what's going to block? I'll tell you what's going to block. When the druggie comes by, the Mr. Rahmanas, and the Rahmanas says, here's my cell phone. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to take you and help you become another person. He says, really? You also went through drugs? That's amazing, because I actually have some with me. So come, this is an amazing thing. You're exactly the kind of person I was looking for. Give me money and your cell phone and drugs. How does he feel? He feels turned off. The whole investment that he has, he feels turned off. There's an answer to that, but it's harder. Standard Rahmanas is turned off with a shaita, with foolishness. Foolishness is an obstruction for Rahmanas. What you need is a hunger in the recipient to at least ask, to at least be present, to at least allow that connection to happen. But when the recipient is acting foolish in the sense of showing absolutely no hunger or desire to be a recipient, I can't connect with it. I love to letting go, but I can't. It's very difficult. There's an answer to that. The answer is, the biggest Rahmanas, it's harder. The biggest Rahmanas is on someone who doesn't know they're Ahavas. There's a sick person who knows that they're sick, and there's a sick person who doesn't know they're sick. It takes more effort within me to awaken that kind of Rahmanas on that individual, to allow myself to engage with an individual who doesn't even know that they're sick, and to awaken within me a feeling of Rahmanas. When I see someone doing something foolish, I can have two reactions. That's a fool. What a fool. I wish I can help him. It takes effort to overcome whatever obstructions are there and still open myself up. It's possible, but it's more effort. Am I addressing your? Yeah, that's it. That's the difference between standard Rahmanas and the ultimate Rahmanas. That we used to say. That's when Esh Rahmanas happen. If he's at such a point, such a low point that he doesn't even know it's a problem. He's saying that things that are foolish are great, and things that are great. You can be accounts, or you can be mu'ayder, even Rahmanas over there. But there's no question that takes a lot more effort, but it's still possible. And yes, we do find individuals who are in our life who are sometimes like that. And we need sometimes to be mu'ayder Rahmanas at that point too, because if I'm going to become confrontational at that point, I lose that. So I have to be mu'ayder Rahmanas at that point. When I see a child behaving foolishly, I understand it's their age. So when I see an adult behaving like a child, I have to somehow take a moment and reflect and say, they're also a child. We all are children sometimes. We all have foolish moments sometimes. And slowly awaken that Rahmanas. When the recipient feels that, that's when we can come back to that relationship moment. If the recipient feels that I'm looking at him like a fool, which he is, and he deserves to be looked at as a fool, it stops. I have to be able to look at that foolish moment like an airplane view, and not from a view of fool to fool. Confrontational is when I'm both over here sitting. When I'm in airplane view, I don't Rahmanas feel bad. Rahmanas in a good way. I'm detaching myself from the negativity, and I'm attaching myself to the person in a real way. There's a beautiful example that the Rebbe gives. I have to say. So, Ahavas Avihem Loiro. The Pasuk says, Ahavas Avihem Loiro. What happened? Noach wasn't in the exact glorious moments that a father should be in, and his 3 children, all 3 witnessed it. Comes along the table and says, shame and yefes, Ahavas Avihem Loiro. They did not see Noach in his state. What does it mean they didn't see? Well, they went backwards. The deeper thing here. Chum was a low life, and I'm seeing the word low. He was a person who was like Noach in that moment all the time. That's what his lifestyle was all about. When he saw Taki finally took drugs, he was elated. He was so excited. Wow, Taki is just like me. I finally found out your mom is like me. Wow, amazing. He came running to the body of the Chevra. Tati, you know who he is? Noach is Ish Chom. It's amazing. I finally figured it all out. He's all excited. Shem and Yefes says, Achmanis, Evetavim Leiro. Achmanis, they backed up and they covered him up. They didn't see Erva. When you're Erva, you see Erva. But if you're someone who's not Erva, you don't see that. Achmanis, Evetavim Leiro. They didn't see any negativity there. They saw a problem to fix. They saw something that they were appalled. Wait, how did you fall into this? They didn't see any error. How you see it is what you see. How you look at things. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. If you're changing how you're looking at the person, the things you look at, they're both, all 3 chesed words saw the drugs in the recipient. How they looked at the drugs changed the drugs that they saw. One of them saw a drug. Another one saw, how did he fall into this? He didn't. He saw it, but he wasn't caught up by it. He wasn't identified by it.
How do you get to that?
How do you
get to that detachment? It's very... what I'm hearing is that the person...
Yeah. That's what the Baal Shem Tov, we said in the beginning, that's the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov, we quoted in the beginning, that you see negativity in someone else, it's a reflection on yourself. That's what the Baal Shem Tov meant. He meant to say the chum kind of negativity. When you are negativity, then you see negativity. And all the people you encounter, you're going to highlight the negativity that simply is a reflection of your outlook in people, in yourself that you're seeing. Chum saw, you know why he saw it? A shoemaker sees shoes. A car salesman sees cars wherever he goes. When you're not involved in something, you're both seeing the car, but you're not seeing the same thing. People don't sense the words, people sense the emotion within the words. People sense the feeling behind the words. People don't sense the challenge, they sense the balabasta who's serving the challenge.
once you go through some of that,
Yeah.
then it's good. I just want to say that thing that my father wants me to say about that the word speaks to you, and it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So there's a guy by the working in the show, and he wants a race in the row. I'm giving you a 2-minute break.
I have a
And the rabbi said, didn't want to give him a raise. And he listened for a few weeks, and then he got angry. He goes, you know what, I'm leaving. And he begged him and scandal in front of the whole show, and he goes, I'm leaving because you are a father. And he left. After a few weeks, and I've been writing him, so he really doesn't have a job, and he has no choice. He has to go back to the shop. He looked back to that, and the rabbi said, how did you have to start that? He goes, You called me a name from the show? He didn't want. He was speaking for 3 times, and he said, okay, I'll give you the job back. But on a condition. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to work for that scandal, and for the entire show, you're going to say, I am a chazan and not the road. But I am a chazan and not the road. So he had no choice. He didn't really want it. Very, very the whole show, the whole deal, and he was going to not the chazan. But he had no choice. He needed the money. So he needed the money. He had no choice. And he followed his right. He went up there and he goes, and he banged him. I want to do a confession. He goes, I am a chazan and he's not. So that's what he happens to it.
Very good.
He said.
Very good. Very good.
Not how what you say, how you say it.
Very good.
That really. Like I come to my children, I say, I don't hear your word. I hear your tone. I'm not hearing what you're saying. If you want me to pay attention to what you're saying, you have to change your tone.
Yeah.
Good.
And I keep on like envisioning a scenario where someone's being taken advantage of, like especially in if someone's being taken advantage of, is what they're getting coming from Ahavas? Or is there kind of rough money that can be taken advantage of?
When you say the word taken advantage, what do you mean taken advantage?
Like there aren't proper boundaries inside. Like let's say the person who gives out their cell phone and is being called at all hours in the night, and it's not in either the giver or the recipient's best interest. Ultimately.
Child also, you tell a child, don't close mommy's phone.
Yeah.
That's okay. But the child knows mommy cares me. That's okay. We're allowed to say no. It's not saying no that we're saying that we shouldn't do. We're saying how to say no.
So that would mean that it, like that Perek encapsulates both chesed and gvura because you're giving and you have boundaries in place.
It's really a decision you make. That is a decision. The decision that I made that I'm going to allow myself to connect to this person. It doesn't have to reflect in time. Yeah, there's time that I have to eat. Right? It's a decision I made. A conscious decision that I made. I'm allowing myself to connect to this individual.
So it's more about the attitude.
Different attitudes. 100 different attitudes.
And the actions can be exact same actions.
You can have someone who gives a lot of time and they have an attitude. You can have someone who gives a little bit of time and they have a good attitude. It's a decision you have to make if you want to have a relationship. If there's relationship, there's that decision. Otherwise, it's an interaction. If there's a relationship, you have to have that decision. Otherwise, it's an interaction. And I also go to the store and buy something from the store. Doesn't mean I have a relationship with the store owner. And I have a lot of interactions. I have 500 friends on Facebook and I have 600,000 tweets. I don't know what else I do. You know? Life is good. Decision you have to make. You have to recognize decision. Decision means what? I have to ask myself a question. Do I want to be here or not? Do I want to enter my life with someone else or not?
What motivates that decision? Really, just even if the other person is sick, you want to be able to provide it. So how do you get past yourself?
Even if, say again?
Let's say I want the other person needs connection, and they feel like you're not giving it connection, and they're asking for a connection. How do you get past yourself and
The other person does want it?
Yeah. How do you, like, here's your own need to be separate. Because, like, the ego does not want, but the other needs to be an individual. Like, you can't just, part of it just like let go and invest yourself completely. So how do you,
Well, it doesn't happen right away. The Shema doesn't happen right away. Relationships don't happen. Boom. They happen like that. It's not that. Right? There's a process. A process where I get to know someone. There's a process where I build trust. And there's a moment of commitment. The jump between the process and the moment of commitment is not measurable, because friends, the difference between a friend and a relationship is the inalef. It's not. There's no. It doesn't go by stages. You can warm up and warm up and warm up. From the Heinz Martin, right? There's a difference between the world and the world. I once had someone who was dating for 10 years. And they couldn't decide whether or not they want to get married. Right? Because he didn't know how. There could be, some people have an inability to commit. It's a problem. Because there's a gap. There's always going to be that gap. It's just the name of the game. But the warm-up is definitely there. At the end of the day. That's the first. The decision doesn't come on its own. There has to be a warm-up. And usually in that case, you also feel that the recipient wants it. You're not coming to someone who doesn't want it. Part of the warm-up is to see if there's a person who's on drugs or there's a person who's asking it. Right? There has to be a recipient. The drug, the ultimate Rahman case is when you're already in a relationship. Not to, or when you, but not to start a relationship with someone on drugs, because, right? That's the moments of briyas that we have, right? Within a relationship, there's always going to be a moment of briyas. There's going to be something I don't like. So you awaken a feeling at that moment. Let's go back to the original. Question. Let's summarize it. Start off with the question. Right? The question was, how do you have oyeves abriyos? How do you bring ahava in a place of briyos? How do you bring ahava in a place where there is everything there that's disinviting the ahava? Briyos means he's just a creation. He's something there that I despise. Something there I can't stand. It could play out in moments, in the sense of someone I already have in my life, and there's moments of briyos. It could play out in a whole person, as in maybe an interaction of briyos, a yid, whatever. It could play out in many ways. This briyos moment can play out in many ways. It could play out in marriage, in the sense of letting go of something. It could play out in many ways. But there's one paradigm here that allows it to happen. And that's the paradigm of tiferet. That's the paradigm of rachmanis. What do? We discuss 3 ways how we have really 2 interactions and 1 relationship. That's really what it is. Chesed Gvura is an interaction, and tiferet is a relationship. Usually there are systems and there are things I set in place when I interact with people. Here I give this much, here I do this, here I do that. That's how I set myself up. That's how I interact with people. There's one place where I decide I'm invested there. The moment I decide I'm invested there, that's the moment of a relationship. That's the moment where the change and ahava can come together. I can on one hand see a problem, but I don't see it as a problem. I see it as my problem. I see it as our problem. I don't see it as a negativity in the sense of despicable, in the sense of something disgusting that I want to. I see it as, we're working through it. We're working through it. I can change it, and it's not confrontational. And I can love the person, although they have it. It goes together. When I'm dealing in my system, so then this is who I am, this is it. So then I have my way, how I relate to you. Either I like you, I don't like you. I can say, I can either ignore the problem and allow you to be bad, or I can change your problem, but you feel like I'm changing you because I never connected to you. The moment we connect is like the difference I said, there's quite a few examples we gave. We gave the example of a sukkah versus a house, the ben bayis, the person that feels at home, shem and chum versus yafes. You gave a nice example of the Rav in Shul, how he said it determined what he said. How you say something to someone is, do you feel invested there? Do you feel like you are there, or you feel like you're doing something to them? With them or to them? At them or to? It's a decision we make in the sense of how we bond. Let me show you inside so we can show the flow. Okay, so we start off with 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 were the questions we had. First question we had was Briyas. How do you have Av and Briyas? The second question was Ahavas Yisroel to a stranger across the ocean. Well, we know what across the ocean means. Across the ocean means that I'm bonding to someone. I'm not letting any oceans or continents divide between me and the other person. I'm crossing and bridging that. And yeah, neighbor also, there are oceans between me and my neighbor. There are many oceans between every individual at the table. When we bridge those oceans, that's where Ahava takes place. And that only happens with beside us. What does the Baal Shem Tov mean by seeing negativity in a mirror, as a mirror? He means to say the chum. Yeah, if you're Mr. Erba, you'll see Erba. But if you in yourself don't have that kind of lifestyle, then you won't see it as a entity of another person and have excitement. Yeah.
What people are interpreting as negative. You're picking out like issues that need correction, but people are interpreting it as, oh, you're negative. Like, you're negative. Like, you never understand or no.
Let me give you an example, and let's see if you can figure it in this example. In Shul, there are two people that correct the Baal Shem Tov. Two kinds of people. One person, they're saying the same thing. The Baal Shem Tov says, shame. Shom, not shame. They're saying the same words. One person, everybody in Shul, quiets them up, shushes them. I still. And the other person, everybody says, oh, okay, fine. What's the difference between the two? The difference is like this. The first person is the nudnik of town. He's Mr. Nudnik. You walk into Shul, sit over there. You spill the coffee. Oh, you're spilling the coffee again. You walked in, put back to the safer. He's the nudnik of time. I don't even hear him talking. I just hear nudnik. Nudnik, quiet. Care that. Go away, nudnik. They don't even hear his words. They just simply hear nudnik. You don't want to hear a nudnik, so you shook him. I don't hear his words. The other person is a nice person. Everybody knows he's a nice person. He only means well. He simply wants to hear a good kriya, so we respect him. So the negativity I say has nothing to do with the words I say. It has everything to do with the nudnik I am. Yeah. Ask.
Situation is the kind of role where you're like, you have to give, please do this, do that. I'm not going to say what kind of role you have, but maybe many of us are the same as one other. So that's your role. You are a nurse in a certain sense.
Okay. I got you. I got you. I'll give you an example. The other one gave an example. When someone's committing suicide, right? And you're helping them. And you're preventing them from committing suicide. And let me contrast that with someone else with a nudnik, right? When someone's committing suicide, although they want to and they feel it's good, and you're stopping them, at least they know you want their interest. You want their best interest. They're not going to convince themselves you're trying to take away ice cream because you want it yourself. They're not convincing themselves that. Even in your role, probably, somehow, there's no reason for you to be intimidated because it's felt that you want the best interest. If it's covered, image and status that's coming across. I don't want people to see. They're not going to like that. Oh, so it's not about me. It's about the people that come and see, and that's why you're doing it, because you don't want to be embarrassed. And that's why you're telling me to do something because of your own cover. Then they won't like it. Then they won't like it. But if they sense that you're doing it in an educational way, for their self, for their best interest, they might not like it, but they won't hate you for it. They won't be upset. They'll scorn. They're not going to be happy, but it's going to be a growth spurt. It's going to be a painful thing like teething. The child is not, the mother is not saying, Keith, don't go out and stop that because I don't want you to have that pain. There's certain pains that are okay. The child will feel what's the real motive. Is it status, covet, my standing with my friends, therefore I want you to behave that way, or your interest of you growing up. The mother's comfort, just don't bother me. Or sometimes it's not comfort, it could be status, it could be other things, right? And the child feels the motive. Because they feel, just like you feel the Baal Shem Tov movement, the child feels motive.
How do you connect to the movement?
The only way you can connect to a movement is if you have it. You can connect to a drug. If you have a movement in your life, and you have to, we all have movements in our life. That's right. You don't have to connect every movement. There's no mitzvah in the Torah to go around to all the movements and connect them. Status doesn't mean, status is not to everyone. Status doesn't mean I have to go around to all the movements of town and make them come into my home and have a druggy home. That's not what it means. Status means that Tiferet is in quality moments. It's in the people of my life. It's in my interactions when I interact with them. When I meet a movement, have Rahman. When I meet movement, have Rahman. I don't have to seek out movements and connect with them. Connecting is something that I make. You don't connect with everyone. That's like they say 500 friends, right? You don't connect with everyone. Who you connect to, that's Tiferet. When you meet those movements, have Rahman. For the moment. There's a moment of Rahman, and there's a connection in the sense of an investment of life. That you're connecting with someone, a child, whatever it is, Oivus Abriyas means when I come across a Briya, I should be Oivus. In the sense of Yidin, in the sense of, it's not just being nice. And what's you, Oivus Abriyas? Oivus Abriyas means that I should look with an attitude. Oivus Abriyas is describing an attitude. You know where it plays out? I'll give you another example. Oivus Abriyas plays out. There's a story in Hachanam Kavit in Tel Aviv. The story is actually, I don't know if it's different. Okay, there are two people sitting there in a duchan for tefillin. Duchan, putting on tefillin with people. One was a Lubavitcher chassid, and one was a Litvisher person. A Friday Yid comes by and wants to put on tefillin. He passes by the Litvisher and goes to the Lubavitcher. So the Litvisher asks him later, why did you pass me by my stand? Why didn't you put on with me? He tells him, when I passed by your stand, I felt you wanted to Olam Haba. When I passed by the Lubavitcher stand, I felt like he wanted to help me.
You wanted my Olam Haba.
Believe it or not, there was a stand there with the not Lubavitcher. Now it's a Pella, but now they actually have that.
I think he
and as it's so that, what am I trying to bring out? I'm not trying to put one over. It's an attitude. Even in our culture, we don't say so much chesed. We say Rahman, a lot more than chesed. Rahman is we don't say, we're now going to do chesed and do Mekayim. Right? We use the word connection a lot more. In the culture we have, we were bred. The bread and butter that we have, we were simply we were It's like embedded in us. It's like, what do you mean? Chesed means agir. The freie Liebe, the nicht Insere. The nicht Insere. There's Insere and nicht Insere. There's our people and not our people. We don't have that term. You know where it's unfortunately more used? Within our community. But not, unfortunately, it's used within our community. But
within our community
division, but in the sense of a freie Liebe, we don't have it there. We're not free from that disease. But we don't have it as much as the freie and the whole idea of shlichus, the whole idea of outreach, the way, what did I always say? Is it outreach? Why out?
Not kiruv.
No kiruv. We don't have the word kiruv. Kiruv means I'm close, you're rachok, you're far, and I'm going to come to you. It's used, but not enough. Mikuraven means someone very close to me. It's a different, what Mikuraven really is? Mikuraven is used by Ben Bias. Mikuraven is just, I don't know why we use that word, but it's essentially saying people that are in my home. People that come to my home all the time. No.
Mikuraven means like they
you're referring to friends of Chabad and not Chabad.
Right.
Friends of Chabad and not Chabad.
That's what they refer to.
Okay. We have it over there.
But Mikuraven could also be people who became from, who were not from, and then all of a sudden have Ahavas Yisroel and are careful with Hashgacha and
It's not used as a division. It's not used as a
division, but
it's not the same. Okay. We're not free. No, it's not the Rebbe either. You're right. It's not the Rebbe. Yeah.
You have 10 people in need of public connection. Who do you choose? Why do you choose to invest yourself? This person, not that person. People need
certain stories talk to different people. When you're choosing something, certain stories talk to certain people. Well, you can. You have 10 people at a table, and you have to choose one. They all have eyes and noses, but there's differentiators between each one. So something you're going to say, this is more inviting, this is more of a recipient for me to allow myself to come in. That's just how it works. Within each, just like the Gashmis, just like the 10 people online, this person who went through a certain, in an easier case, this person who went through a similar, I find a similarity, something similar is inviting, triggers me to allow myself to open up and become one. So first I have something inviting, the loy lishma, perhaps, right? Similarity. I feel, I understand, I appreciate, I relate, all the words we use. And then I say, I'm going to take it to the next step. I'm going to open up and allow myself to be in. There's a different class that I give what lishma is, what lishma, lishma, that's a different discussion. But there is a process of a lishma. You come to every lishma comes to a lishma. First I have coffee together, I get to know. Then I hear a little bit, and then I make a lishma. Lishma doesn't happen. If I go to someone in the street, I make a lishma, that go away. That's a dangerous thing. Don't make a lishma if someone is a stranger. Right? It doesn't work that way.
So you feel close to the person, and those emotions motivate you to invest.
You feel a recipient. You feel this.
You build up a trust, no? That person has to build up a trust, no? You give them space to build up a trust in you.
Before I invest myself in a place, I have to. Let me give you a different example. An investor wants to make it more vague. An investor wants to invest in a business, right? So tell me your story. What you're all about. What's your company all about? I hear you. No, it's not my kind of business. That's my kind of business. I'm going to invest there, right? I have to hear a story. I'm not just going to invest my money. So I don't invest myself for sure. I don't put my money anywhere. I don't put myself anywhere. I got to have a place where I feel comfortable, solid about the story, about the future, about whatever it is. This is something, I can see, I understand. Now I'm going to come in. I have to be confident that this is a real story. Before I come into a place. I have a choice. If I don't have to come into every place. If you're talking about the paradigm of marriage, if you're talking about, right, I don't have to, it's 24/7 and every day. I don't have to come I'm not going to go into any place. But a friend is a moment. So you can allow yourself to be there. You can it's a moment. It's not necessarily over time. It's a time frame, isn't it? Friend is not necessarily. There's one friend. It says Knei Lecha Chaver. Knei Lecha Chaver, not Chaverim. Knei Lecha Chaver. Why? Because you have to buy. What's you buy? You don't buy a friend. You buy a friend. What's to buy? The currency first. What's the currency? Buy currency. When you buy something, you're putting money into it. It's painful. You're letting go of something. Friends are acquired with pain. What's pain? Wasn't pain? When they're there also in your painful moments. When they're not only there to pat you on the back. Friends are there as someone that I can actually share something with. And I'm around the corner, I'm going to stop by. I had to go to California and I canceled my trip and I'm going to come to you anyway. Now you acquired a friend. Friends are not some, I happen to be around. I don't need to tell you this, go with me. So there are people who you invest and you show that you're really there, and then you can share things together. Yeah, that's not everybody. Yeah, I was just thinking out how it's not a lot. Just to say, I have 500 friends on Facebook. There's a role of a Rav and there's a role of a Chaver. Usually people have a person in life, a Rav. Rav is direction, and there's a person I share struggles with. Not always Chaver. Not only marriage. There's Chaver. It's important. Two Nekudas. Rav, direction. Friends can't always give direction, but a friend can share. And sharing is a truth in itself. That itself is it.
Is that also
idea? Huh?
Is that also like Mashpia and the
It's like if you have a friend who, you spend time together and focus, and then they kind of drop you because an old friend comes back into town or whatever, and they come and drop you. Then is that hard-hearted not to go back to that friend? Like feeling like they ask you?
You kind of demonstrated they're not a friend. They kind of demonstrated that they're not a friend.
Yeah, but I mean,
if they can do that, you should be happy with that. At least you have one less, closer to the real friend. Why should you go back to someone who's demonstrated? You don't have to connect every individual. Even favorably that we're referring to when you.
like the Rebbe, you have comparison like a single person.
The Rebbe care for every single person. You can still care. You don't have to share your struggles with them, but you can still care for their struggles. That's a beautiful thing. You can still care if they're in need. You don't have to have nekama by saying, "Oh, you drop me, I'll drop you when you need me." If you have the ability, strength within yourself, which is a beautiful thing to do. The Ohev and still be there for them. Beautiful. But you don't have to share your struggles with people who don't know how to share. You share with people who know how to share. Of course you can.
But you're investing yourself.
Don't invest yourself in a place where they don't take you.
They do take you. They're just not able always to reciprocate. But you invest in yourself. What does that have to do? What does that have to do with them? You're making the decision to be there for somebody and to connect with somebody.
When you say you're there for them, or you're there for yourself too. See, I could be there for many people. When people have a problem, they can talk, and you can help them. That doesn't mean I'm going to share my struggles with them. There's a difference between me. I share my struggles with one or two people in life. I can help other people's struggles unlimited. No, that's also status. If I listen to them, if I hear what they're saying, and it doesn't just go over my head, that's status. That's Ahavas. If I am able to connect to their struggles, I help them. And that's a beautiful thing to do, and that's what should be done. And that is Ohev Sabriyos. I should be connecting to people's struggles and helping them. Sharing my struggles. Find the right person you want to share your struggles with. Don't go and share them in the street. Share them with the people. Share them.
How do you, with the method, you talked about like with somebody else, but in a marriage relationship, it's like a 24/7. How do you develop?
So that's why I said in the places where I can't not be there, I am there. You have to develop this mindset. You have to develop a mindset of Rahman. Sometimes I have people in my life. Everybody has people in their life. We all have baby moments, you know. We all have childish moments. We all have moments of foolishness. And we need to develop Rahmanis in those moments. Instead of looking at him, someone's going to make a headstand over here on Carroll and Brooklyn and start dancing in the street. I'm not going to feel jealous. I'm not going to feel angry. I'm going to laugh. Hello? I have Rahmanis in you. Why are you doing that? I have a bird's eye view on that person. Like, hello? So if we can develop that hello and someone who's doing something foolishness in the sense of being a slob, it bothers me. It irks me when they're a slob. Stop the irking. Let go a second. Look at them like the guy making a headstand. Oh my, how did he become a slob? Like, what's it? Now the attitude is different. Don't look at him like the slob that irk me. Look at him like the person doesn't irk me when the person's making a headstand. How do I help this guy stop making headstands?
That's not laughing.
Not laughing as in contempt. Laughing as I don't feel animosity.
Fine, but it's still not. It's not the love. That's maybe the distance.
Why am I highlighting that? Because when I'm going to reprimand, when I'm going to help, when I'm going to change, it's not going to come from confrontational stance. Confrontational, you know who hates each other? The shoemaker hates the shoemaker. Because I'm trying to be a better shoemaker than me, I can't stand you. My contempt that I have, my irking feeling that I have, when I'm, why are you like that? I'm matching myself to you. When I pick myself up, I look at you, you're a child. It's a childish moment. When you say the word childish moment, you allow yourself to address the person with a different tone.
So it takes a lot of
it takes a lot of humility within a person. But it's possible. And we do that with children. Yeah, what?
You're talking about removing yourself. So if you want to make sure that that's not necessarily contempt. Because contempt is also certain removal, but it's
right. So it's different. Right. It's looking down. This is not looking down. This is.
First there's like not investing until there's a certain like attachment.
Right.
And you can that's step one, then you can go to the next step, which is actually compassion. There are two examples of contempt. There's a star and there's a melech. A star is a minister and a melech is a king. A star is also an exalted position. They're jealous. They don't. A king looks with Rahman. Because the king not jealous. There's nothing missing. So yeah, contempt could be higher than you, and that's why, and I can still be upset at you. But when you're not upset, but just
that couldn't come through. But king means that they're not punishing king. King in the sense of, I have it. Why are you like that? You know, it's a different attitude. And that attitude is a different. That's Rahman. Rahman that we have in English is like looking down. I'm looking down. Oh, Rahman is hate. Rahman is pity. That's not Rahman. Empathy is really what Rahman is. I feel the other person. Pity is, I don't feel that. I actually look down at them. That's what we're referring to, which is the third level, which is Rahman, which is empathy, which is a relationship, which is Ahavas Yisroel, which is also, I finished off, which is the ultimate keli for Rahman and the Eibishter. When a person has that, that brings Rahman and the Eibishter as well. I finished with a story. There's a story of Rav Zusha and Rav Melech, famous two tzaddikim. And the story is brought down that their father, how was Yisrael to have two great tzaddikim, brought down that he adopted two children while they were in school. While they were in Cheder, they were regular. The father was a Pashut Yid. He was a regular Jew. And he had two Yingelach that went to Cheder. And he said to the Eibishter, I want my Yingelach to be successful. I want them to be Talmidei. I want them to be good. I'm going to adopt two children. Yisonim, orphans. that are your children. I'm going to connect to them, and I want you to help out my children. His Rachmanis was more Rachmanis in the Eibishter. He had two children, Rabbi Melech and Vazusha, which were outstanding tzaddikim. So when we connect, the Eibishter connects. This is the idea of tzedakah. This is the idea of the story with the Tzemach Tzedek before davening. Neither connected, neither. That's the idea of when we want Rachmanis and we don't need Rachmanis. When we show Rachmanis, the Eibishter has Rachmanis. The last story with Tzemach Tzedek before davening, famous story. He wanted to have the revelation from his grandfather, the Alter Rebbe. He didn't see him for a while. This was after the Alter Rebbe passed away. And there was a shuk. There was a business day. The people needed loans. So someone came to him for a loan. He said, come to me after davening. He was about to daven, put on his tallis, took off his tallis, and he ran to give a loan to this person. Why? Because he realized if he's not going to give him a loan now, he's not going to be able to do business. And he won't be able to be successful. So he felt the other person. He didn't just put money in his stuff the person. He didn't say, he went himself and gave it. And then he saw the Alter Rebbe. The idea is that Rachmanis is not sukkah. Sukkah is putting in the pushkit. Sukkah is a sukkah. Called different names for the echel. Rachmanis is I feel the other person. I adopt. I feel. I connect. That's the keli to the biggest process that we can also have from the Eibishter. And Eibishter should have Rachmanis for those who need Rachmanis. And it should live happily ever after.
Thank you. Mr. Wonderful. Now, how do you